Am I the asshole for ruining my friend's relationship by being gay? Am I the asshole for not telling my friend I'm gay and ruining his relationship? If more information is needed, just ask in the comments. I am happy to answer. This post has been edited. I wrote it originally at 2 a.m. while very emotional and exhausted. Made less sense, typos, missing information. So I, 19 male, accidentally slept with my best friend of 4 years. Aiden 20 male, girlfriends. Cass 20 female. Brother, Rick 23 meters. Very long story short. I've been secretly in love with my best friend for years. We were best friends before I developed romantic feelings for him. I knew, however, that he wasn't gay and decided to not tell him I had feeling for fear of making our friendship awkward. I also haven't told him I'm gay because I come from a conservative Asian family. He started a relationship with a girl from his college last year. I can tell he likes her and I've been very encouraging about it. If he's happy, that's what matters. His girlfriend Saz has been trying to set me up with her best friend, Brittany 21 female, for the majority of her and Aiden's relationship. I've made it very clear with Saz that I'm not interested and she should tell Britt that to save her feelings so I don't hurt them and embarrassed her. I genuinely like Britt, she's a great person and good friend. Even with me rejecting her, we've remained friendly. Saz is a party girl, Britt is too. Aiden and I don't like parties, but we've gone to a few since he and Saz got together. So we go to this party and after accidentally separating from the other three, I run into a really attractive guy and somehow find myself waking up in his bed the next morning. I realize now that I'm editing this that I can just say we had sex. I had never done something like this before, but it was okay. He made me a coffee, and told me he'd drive me home after. It was going pretty well. And I planned on giving him my number. I considered seeing where it would go since even though I still care for Aiden, he's happily dating someone else and I can respect that. Then in the kitchen comes Saz. We both went wide-eyed. I piece it together quickly. This is her older brother who she's mentioned once or twice and realize that she knows why I am in their family's kitchen. I mean, I was in his clothes and why else would I be there that early? Please don't tell anyone, I asked. Blurted out as she curses in disbelief and leaves the room. I wasn't sure what to make of her reaction, but it put me on edge. I wasn't out, she'd seemed upset, she'd probably tell Aiden. I explained to her confused brother that I know her boyfriend and we all hang out sometimes, but I'm not out as gay to them. I finish my coffee and he drives me home. Which I greatly appreciate because I could tell that even he felt awkward. Admittedly, I was so anxious by this encounter with Cass. That night after work Aiden asks to meet. So we did. He starts telling me how Cass caught me in the act with her brother, how I blew up on her and told her it was because she stole Aiden from me. That I hated her. That I was going to steal Aiden back and called her a slur. I should mention maybe that she's half black, so you can imagine what slurs. I was shocked. I tried to deny it all and explain, but it was clear Aiden didn't believe me and he then went off about how I should have told him I'm gay. Reminder, I come from a conservative Asian family, so I don't want to come out yet for fear of disappointing my parents. And that I obviously don't trust him, so he can't trust me. I got mad. I told him he was an idiot to believe a girl he's only been dating recently over his best friend of almost 5 years who has never once lied to him. And he knows I'd never say any of what she accused me of. He got mad and blamed me for causing drama and issues in his relationship, and that if I was honest about my sexuality, there wouldn't be any relationship or friendship issues. That I was selfish to hide who I really was. I called him an idiot, again, and told him never to talk to me again. Well, he hasn't. It's been weeks since we've talked. I miss him. I want to call him, but I don't think he'll answer. To add, Aiden has a lot of stuff going on in his personal life and has been very stressed out the last few months. I noticed it was getting really bad right before this all went down. He started smoking, a habit he swore off when we graduated, and partying with Cass more. Cass doesn't like me. She has told Aiden that I take up too much of his time and it's not fair that he gives me so much attention. She also has been the reason Aiden hasn't been hanging out with most of his friends, but we all had brushed it off since sometimes that happens when people get in a relationship. Puppy love phase or whatever. Hopefully things make a little more sense. But the question is, was I the asshole for not being honest about my sexuality with Aiden and Cass from the get-go? Not the asshole. Your sexuality has nothing to do with all the drama going on in this tale. Not the asshole, but definitely call that dude back. He will find out soon. Her level of crazy will not stay hidden for long. First you're pushed away, then the rest of his friends will follow. Why does it matter you and her brother were together? Literally nothing happened, they just didn't like you got it on with him. Not the asshole. Not the asshole if you don't want to come out to him, you don't have to. He shouldn't expect you to come out and you have a valid reason for not wanting to come out, and coming out can be difficult even to those you know are accepting. Am I the asshole for declining her dying wish and not telling my partner? Danny, my BFF for the past 15 years, has terminal cancer. She's only 23, and things have been really hard. Immunotherapy and targeted chemo have helped quite a bit. I love her a lot, and cannot stress enough how much she means to me. It has been her dream to go to Europe, so we went together to knock it off her bucket list. Just me and her. On the last day of the trip, while we both had too much alcohol, she told me that she was in love with me. I told her it wasn't possible, but she said it was true. For clarification, I am in a relationship with a man. We're all bi, including Danny. I met him in high school and we've been together for 7 years at this point. He is absolutely the love of my life, and the person I want to spend my life with. Danny knows this. She loves him too. Back to Danny. She said she really needed to know before she dies if I've ever felt that way about her, if I ever thought about it. If I'm honest, I hadn't. I know it's normal for most queer people to have crushes on many different people, especially in HS, but I met my boyfriend so young I didn't really get to experience much of that. I met him, and afterwards I was only into him. Still, she sounded so desperate for me to validate her feelings, so I said, "You know what? If I was straight or had never met my boyfriend, I can see it. You'd be the only woman for me." It made sense to say, and I don't know if it's a lie. We are best friends and share everything. Maybe it could be true. It's hard to know because I'm so in love with my boyfriend, but the answer satisfied her and that satisfied me. She ended up asking me to kiss her after, and that's when I knew things had gone too far. I said I would never cheat on my BF, I'd rather cut off my arm. She said she needs this before she dies. A kiss isn't a big deal, and I said no, absolutely not. I said I would do anything for her but not this. The next morning she apologized like crazy, and I said it was fine, but I felt sick about the conversation since it happened. I feel a ton of guilt. I feel like I did wrong by my boyfriend because I know he would not be happy about that conversation. He put a lot of trust with me, being totally fine with me going on trips alone with people, and I feel like I spit in his face. He is a really jealous person. He would not be okay with me not telling him about this. To make it more complicated, he's also paying all her medical bills and is the reason she's getting top-quality medical care. She lives with us, and he pays for everything because he loves me and he sees her like family. His family has money and ours don't, so his support has meant everything. It didn't even occur to me to tell him because I know it would cause unnecessary drama, and she doesn't have much time left. I don't want her last moments with her only family, us, to be tainted. Am I the asshole? Was that conversation inappropriate? I can't tell if I'm making a bigger deal out of it. But I am filled with guilt and feel sick to my stomach. No holes here. She is desperate for connections before she leaves this life. Desperation causes things to happen and be said. She profusely apologized the next day. You might have a bigger problem than you think with your SO though. Her thoughts are deep-seated, but life brought them forward. She loves you both no the less. Why should he pay to help someone who spat in his face basically, and everyone here seems okay with him shelling out all this money for her and not telling him the truth? You're a terrible boyfriend to let him continue paying for her knowing what you know. Sometimes, you have to keep secrets, and this is one of those times. There was alcohol involved. I wouldn't say a word. You, as a group, are going through quite enough as it is. Forgive yourself and forgive your BFF. You did nothing wrong. You have nothing to confess to your BF, and there's no reason he needs to know the details of a conversation which went nowhere. You are not the asshole. P.S. Your description of his extreme jealousy is a bit concerning generally. Not the asshole, but tell your boyfriend. Don't want her to be the one who does. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I won't walk her down the aisle? So my mom has been married 3 times and I attended every wedding. This upcoming wedding would be her 4th. The first was when I was about 5, the second was when I was 9, and the third was when I was 12. I am 16 right now. She was also in a serious relationship with my bio dad, but they were never legally married at all, and I can just barely remember the time they were together. Now, I love my mom, and I loved most of her boyfriends, husbands as well. They're great guys for the most part, and I just want to see her happy, but at some point it just became too much. My grandpa walked her down the aisle at all her other weddings, but he passed in 2020, so this time she asked if I would do her the honors. I know she was offering as a way to sort of ask for my blessing, plus she wanted to make me a part of the ceremony. But the thing is, I don't actually want to give her my blessing this time around. After being to so many of her weddings, I kinda stopped believing that this one is the one for real this time, and that she promises she's going to make it work no matter what. And just from an objective perspective, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of partners, at least not in my opinion. But the thing is, my mom tends to rush into relationships before she's ready, and she doesn't think about consequences that much. Growing up, especially with number 2, I would start to form a bond with these guys. They were like a dad to me, and I started to accept them as part of my family, and then one day they'd get a divorce and he'd just disappear and I'd hardly hear from them again. So it's kinda difficult to accept her current fiancé as a new stepdad, or even as someone to form a meaningful connection with when it could just end at any moment. I try to believe her when she says he's the one this time, but I just can't. I told her that I didn't really feel like giving her away, plus I told her my opinion on getting married and urged her to please wait a little while longer before deciding to go through with the wedding, which might have been a huge mistake. She was really hurt. She tried not to show it, but I could tell. I'm pretty sure she cried a little. They didn't change the date, obviously, because that would require too much logistical stuff and changing to already prepared plans, but she stopped talking to me so much about the wedding, which made me feel like shit. Now the wedding is coming up, it's in November, and I feel like I've ruined the whole thing. My mom is obviously uneasy about the day. My aunt is angry at me and accused me of trying to ruin my mom's special day. My sisters are mad at me because they think that I don't want her to marry her fiancé, and they both really like her fiancé and get along really well with his daughter, so now they think I'm trying to rob them of their new sister. I don't really know what to do. I think I'm still right about how she shouldn't rush the wedding, but I think I ruined everything now. Not the asshole. I think your mother has been quite selfish here, just bringing these guys into your life for short periods of time without any through onto how this would affect you. As a parent, you're supposed to put your children first. It doesn't sound like she does that. I don't blame you for not wanting to walk her down the aisle. 4 weddings is a bit of a joke, really, and doesn't suggest she takes marriage seriously. Don't be sorry for trying to protect yourself from getting hurt again. It's not so special day if you have 4 or 5 of them. You are correct. Don't feel too bad. Tell your aunt to mind her own business, as your mother has had 3 special days. I don't blame you for feeling this way, kid. Not the asshole. You aren't ruining her special day because, well, she's already had 3 special days. They aren't all that special. Not the asshole. Your mom is clowning around, honestly. Don't be part of her circus. Am I the asshole for putting my niece in the same room as my daughter even though we had a spare? On a throwaway. I, 22 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, have 3 kids, aged 3, triplets. When we moved into the house, it has 4 bedrooms. We have 1, our daughter has 1, and the boys share, and then a playroom for their toys. When they're older, one of the boys will move to the playroom, but they're still little, and I've read little kids should sleep in a calm, minimal room with toys separate for better sleep, so we're doing that for now. My brother, 32 male, has a daughter, Lucy, 2 female. He and his wife married 2 years ago but weren't able to go on a honeymoon because Lucy was only a month old at the time, so they postponed it and things happened, so they're going now for their anniversary. They left yesterday for a week and I'm watching Lucy. They left in a hurry for their plane, so I took her things and unpacked. I put her in my daughter's room. It's a bit cramped, but for a week it'll do, and they don't spend all day in there anyway. We FaceTimed that night, right before her bedtime. I told them Lucy was sleeping with my daughter, and they didn't say anything to that except they wanted to call after everyone was in bed. So we called again, and they asked why Lucy had to share a room when they know the playroom is fine. I told them the playroom was very messy, my fault, and it was so cluttered and bright that Lucy might have trouble going to sleep, and my daughter still had room while the playroom would have to be emptied a bit to fit all her things. Equipment was not good wording. But they demanded I move her tomorrow, and I should have known their daughter deserved to be by herself since she is at home. So today, while everyone was at preschool, playgroup, I set up her things in there, but I'm wondering if it really was a super bad thing to do. I didn't think it would matter, since they never told me she was to be by herself, but again they probably assumed. I don't know if I did something terrible because they were acting like it was, or if they're overreacting. They've texted every couple hours now to make sure I'm not forgetting things, and they've never done that before when I watched her in the past, so maybe they don't trust me anymore. IDK. Am I the asshole? Before anyone asks, I don't want to get my boyfriend involved because he's stressed enough with school and work. Edit, update. I woke up to so many comments. I tried to read, upvote, answer all questions, but there was so many I missed a ton lol. The gist of what I read was that I'm a doormat and need to say no sometimes LMAO. Lucy slept horrible last night in the playroom, she was scared of the shadows of the toys. This morning I got another few texts from them. I told her Lucy slept way better with my daughter than in the playroom and I was moving her back today. They protested a bit but let me, saying Lucy wouldn't be sleeping over again after this week. Which is a shame because she's a good girl but I guess it's not worth the drama. Not the asshole, she's 2 years old, she doesn't need her own room. Also, she's away from her parents and shouldn't be isolated for the happenings in your home. She'll do fine rooming with a big sister. The child you should be concerned about is your daughter. How did she react to having her cousin sleeping in the same room? They demand? Don't volunteer again. Gosh, she's only 2 years old. Not the asshole. What is wrong with a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old sleeping in the same room? Your brother and his wife have some nerve insisting that you modify perfectly sensible rooming arrangements. Not the asshole, they're so entitled to their free babysitter. Your own boys share a room. Why did they think the girls wouldn't? Her situation at home has nothing to do with that at your place. Not the asshole, how ridiculous. It's nicer for them to have company. She will miss her parents but she has her cousin with her.